Hey everybody, Nick Paynes here, coach for Workman Success Systems and managing broker for Remax Alliance in Westminster, Colorado. I'm going to show you how we build a real estate business, basically from start all the way up to what the top agents do. And I'm going to do it in probably 20 or 30 minutes here. So we start with a basic standard process, okay? And all these things that I'm about to put together for you create a process for the business, and then we have systems to run those processes. Okay, so the very first thing that we do for a business is we create what we call our 4 pillars of income. Okay, so excuse my drawing, but we're going to draw 4 pillars up here. Now, these 4 pillars are made up of activities that you like to do, but these are lead generating activities. These are prospecting activities. These are things that you do to get leads. Okay, leads are the number one thing that agents need in our business. I think, oh, I need more leads. I need more leads. I wish my broker gave me leads. I wish my team lead gave me leads. Well, we're going to teach you how to hunt and how to generate your own leads. Okay, so we create 4 pillars of income. Now, generally speaking, our first pillar of income is always the same, okay? It's what we first learn when we get into real estate. It's our sphere of influence, and I'm going to put what we call our top 50. So at Workman, we teach something called the top 50. It is the top 50 people within our sphere of influence who know us, like us, and would recommend us or who would refer us, okay? So people that trust us would send business our way. We like to separate those top 50 out. We take great care of them, okay? We're going to talk about that pillar and the system that we work for that pillar. Okay. The second, okay, may be something else that you like to do. Okay. Another big one in the real estate community, obviously one of the best way to get leads, to get deals, is open houses. Okay. So that might be your second pillar. Okay. Now, before we get on to pillars 3 and 4, I'm going to tell you the rule on how we create a pillar. Okay. So the number one rule when we create a pillar is that those pillars must be able to generate, each pillar must be able to generate the yearly amount of income that represents your entire goal for the year. So let's say you wanted to make let's say $200,000 actually. So let's say your income goal is $200,000. Okay. You have to be able to justify or show me how out of each of these pillars you could generate $200,000 worth of income. Okay. So what happens is I get agents that come to me a lot and they say, Nick, I want one of my pillars to be social media. And I say, perfect. Show me how you're going to generate $200,000 of income out of social media. And a lot of times they're not able to do it. If you're not able to do it, you can't use it as a pillar. Okay. So these are pillars numbers 1 and 2. And let me show you how we work backwards to figure out, okay, well, how do we make $200,000 out of one of these particular pillars? So let's do open houses, for example, okay? So let's just take some standard numbers in really a general market, okay? So if we're working open houses and let's think about what it takes, first of all, to make $200,000. So let's say in your local market, your average commission is $10,000, okay? So if your average commission is $10,000, you're going to need to do 20 transactions to reach that. Okay. So 20 transactions at $10,000 a piece. So how do we get 20 transactions out of open houses? Okay. Well, let's say for every open house we do, let's say we get 5 guests. And out of those 5 guests, let's say 4 are represented already, or they're just looky-loos, they're neighbors or something like that. So 4 are not good leads, okay? Or at least not good leads now, right? A neighbor might be a good lead down the road, and we're going to talk about that later, okay? And we get 1 kind of what we say is a legitimate lead, call it a legit lead. Okay, so we get 1 legit lead, and then let's say we close 33% of those legit leads. Okay, so we're going to close 0.33 of those. Well, so what that means is for every open house we would do, we would get 0.33 deals out of that. So we would need to do 3 open houses to get 1 deal. So if we need to do 20 transactions, we need to do 60 open houses. And that equals 20 deals. So 60 open houses, that's a little more than one a week, okay? Now let's think about the time commitment for that. How long does an open house take? I would say generally run an open house for 2 hours, okay? Maybe an hour for setup, maybe another half hour for takedown. So it's gonna take you 3.5 hours, okay, to do the open house. But then I also think that there's preparation time in there. So you should be creating flyers. I believe you should go door knock prior to an open house so that you can change this 5 guests to 8 and start getting better efficiencies in here. Okay, but you should go door knock, talk to the neighbors, invite them, maybe do some calling, some circle prospecting beforehand. Okay, and so let's say it's another 4.5 hours for an 8-hour total. Okay, so we're going to commit 8 hours to this pillar, and committing 8 hours to this pillar, we can generate $200,000 worth of income. Now, even if you look at my numbers and you go, oh, those numbers, those are too high, which I don't think they are, but double all these then, okay? Or cut them in half if you want, okay? Let's say you only get 2 guests per open house, and let's say your closing percentage is a quarter instead of 33%. Well, either way, I mean, double your open houses. Just do 120 open houses. Do 2 a week. Do 2 open houses a week. It's going to take you 16 hours, and you have a $200,000 business. That's a pretty incredible business for 16 hours a week. Now, I understand that there's some time involved in the actual transaction itself. Okay, how long do buyers take? I personally think buyers take somewhere between 20 and 40 hours. So we'll take the number in between there, which is 30 hours. Okay, so 30 hours times 20 transactions is 600 hours. Okay, 600 hours divided by 52 weeks. It's like 11 hours a week. 12 hours a week. Okay, 11 and a half hours a week. So 11 and a half hours working the actual buyers, 8 hours doing the open houses. There's a 20-hour per week business making $200,000 a year running open houses only. Right? So for those of you people that are thinking that there's no way that that could happen, well, ask somebody that's run 60 to 120 open houses and figure out what their results are. I guarantee it's somewhere in there if they're doing their open houses properly, right? So this is how you build out a pillar. Okay, so we've got these pillars here and we have to build them out. So we have to find, okay, how can we actually do that? Well, I showed you exactly what it looks like here using numbers that we know to be true about open houses. Okay, so first of all, we imagine what our pillars are going to be. And those are based on things that you like to do as an agent. Do you like to network? Are you a people person? Would you rather sit down and make phone calls, or would you rather go out and knock on doors? Would you rather hold open houses? Would you rather sell to people you know? Would you rather sell to people you don't know? You know, we figure these things out based on personality type and the things that you like to do. So maybe you like to go to networking events. Maybe you like to go to, work events, right? So set up a booth at an event and meet people that way. Okay, all of these can be different types of pillars. You can go work with probate attorneys. Okay, so let's call probate attorneys one of these here. Okay. Okay, if you were to build out a probate attorney, I won't do this one on the board, but if you were to build out a probate attorney thing here, I would say find 20 probate attorneys in your area and visit them all once a month. Okay, drop off, muffins or coffee or something for their front desk staff. Create some type of pamphlet, some type of folder that you can give them that they can give to their clients that says, here's what I do. Here's why I'm a great probate agent. I'm familiar with these steps. I'm familiar with estate sales, helping people get rid of all the trash or whatever it is that helps you focus on being a probate attorney being a probate real estate broker, and that would give these people a reason to refer you. Now, if you just go visit them one time, I promise you're not going to get a referral. But after 5, 6, 7 times asking for, hey, I know that you may have an agent that you already work with, but I'd love the opportunity to just work with one of your clients to show you what I can do. That is going to be your opportunity to get your foot in the door. Once you get your foot in the door, one probate attorney might feed you 15, 20 deals a year. Okay, so this can be a really valuable option. This one maybe takes a little bit more time to build out. Open houses are something that you can start doing business right away. Okay, and then let's think about one more. Let's do like expired calls. Okay, same thing. You should be able to build out that pillar with how many calls you're going to make, what's your contact rate. If you make 500 calls and 10% pick up the phone, you got 50 conversations. Out of those 10% of people that pick up the phone, you've got maybe, or call it 50 people that pick up the phone, maybe 10 of them are actually the right number and actually kind of want to talk to you, and you land 3 appointments, and out of those 3 appointments, you get 1 listing. I'd say that's a pretty good number. So 500 dials to make 1 listing. That's a fantastic turnaround. And now all you know is if you need to make $200,000 that year, you've got to do 20 deals. Okay, if you get 20 listings, you need 10,000 phone calls. Okay, I know that seems like a lot, but when you break it down, it's not that many. It's about 30 calls a day. It's a little less than 30 calls a day, maybe 35, 40 calls a day for a 5-day work week. Okay, but 40 calls a day on an auto dialer, especially when half the numbers, these are dials, right? These are people that still have wrong numbers that are out of order, that type of stuff. 40 calls will take you an hour and a half a day. So for an hour and a half a day of calling expireds and having the right script and having the right conversations with people, I think you can do $200,000 in income. Okay, so here's your 4 pillars. Okay, this is the way that those get built out. Hopefully that makes sense so far. Okay, I'm gonna kind of erase this over here because I need a little bit of room. Okay, the idea for these pillars now, once we have these pillars created, and by the way, I don't think you should move to especially pillars 3 and 4 until you've got numbers 1 and 2 really dialed in. I think this one here, your top 50 or your sphere of influence, is your most profitable pillar. And so until you're working that one 100%, I don't think it's a great idea to spend a ton of time on the other ones, right? So work this one perfectly, and then you can start moving on to the other ones. Most agents, the problem that we have with most agents is we have experienced agents that get stuck in their business and they don't continue to grow. And the reason they don't continue to grow is because they only work one pillar, okay? And the problem with this pillar is once you work at 100%, you're gonna run out of people, right? So you're not going to have enough people to create the leads that you need to grow your business, right? So that's why we work open houses and do expired calls, is to create more leads, right? And so what happens is experienced agents just work this pillar. Well, when this pillar dries up, then we have a problem. So when we get into an increased rate market, like we've seen in the last couple of years, what ends up happening is all of these people that consist of like past clients and things like that. Well, the reason they're past clients is because they bought a house. Well, who was it that was not buying and selling houses over the last couple of years? It was the people that already owned homes. They had homes at a significantly lower interest rate, somewhere in the 2 to 3% range. And they thought, man, even if I wanted to move, or I'd love to move, but I'm not going to, because I'm not going to give up a 3% interest rate for a 7% interest rate, right? And so these people all stayed put. So all these experienced agents that had been doing nothing but referral work and return business, their businesses fell off because they didn't have any other way to generate leads during the last 3 years, 2020 to 2023, okay? So we've got to have second, third, fourth pillars. What happens with new agents is the exact opposite. New agents are trying 20, 30, 40 different things to try to generate leads, and they're not good at any of them, right? And so what we need to do is we need to focus you on 4 particular tasks that says, I'm going to come in and I'm going to do this 1 hour a day. I'm going to do this 1 hour a day. I'm going to do this 1 hour a day. I'm going to do this 1 hour a day. And now we have 4 more hours in the day to actually go work our deals, work our transactions. Okay. And if you truly put an hour a day into each of these things, we already talked about that it only takes 8 hours a week to do open houses properly. Okay. And we know that those are heavy on the weekends, right? So an hour during the week, hour during the week, hour during the week, each day, you're going to have so many leads coming in that you won't need somebody to be handing you leads. Okay. So once you build these pillars and you put them into your schedule, okay, and with Workman, we use what's called the perfect week. You put those things into your schedule. You say, this is the time I'm going to work on that pillar. And once we have that, we create leads from these, okay? So what this looks like is, call this a lead funnel, okay? So this is what our lead funnel looks like. And what happens is these pillars are responsible for kind of dropping leads into our funnel. So we're going to meet a lot of people and we're going to talk to a lot of people. So we may make our top 50 calls, right? We make our sphere of influence calls, and maybe we call 200 people and we get 5 leads out of it. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, I have a friend that might be looking to move, or I have a neighbor that might be looking to move. Great. Okay. So what happens is these leads come from the pillars. So that's all the pillars are lead generating activities. Okay. And these pillars start dropping leads down into our funnel. Okay. And we start to classify these leads as A, B, or C leads. And so what happens is this funnel starts to fill with A, B, and C leads. And it's our job now to create a system and a process to follow up with those leads and make sure they don't fall through the cracks. So what we do is we organize those leads within our funnel. Okay. So we make sure that our A's are all together, and our A's are the closest ones to falling through the funnel. Okay. Then we have our B leads here in the middle. And then we have our C leads up top. Okay. And what this looks like now is we have a little bit of, we want to treat these leads differently. We're going to have a little bit of separation between these leads, and we want to treat them differently, and we want to classify them. Okay. And so what happens is when we have an A lead is pretty simple. They're active. Okay. They're looking to buy now, and they always have an appointment. Okay. So that means if you're working with a buyer and you go out and you show them homes and you don't find something, you already got them in your schedule for next week to go show them more homes. They always have an appointment. Okay. Your B leads are 30 to 90 days from purchasing something. Okay. And we don't have, for A's, we don't really have a follow-up program with them because we always have an appointment with them. So we're always talking to them. We don't have a set, this is how often we're talking. Okay. With B leads, we are going to reach out every 2 weeks or twice per month. Okay. And we're going to contact those leads on the 1st and the 15th, or the weeks of the 1st and the 15th each month. So we're going to call twice a month. Okay. And we're going to call with some type of, or we're going to contact them with some type of value or some type of market update. Here's what's going on in the market. Things are changing, rates are going down. Let's try to get out this weekend and take a look at some of the, properties that are available. Okay. C leads we classify as 90 plus days. Okay. And 90 plus days could mean up to 2 years. If they're 2 years out, this is still somebody that you should be in contact with. Okay. And the 90 plus days out, we contact on the 8th of the month. So we contact once per month, and we contact them the week of the 8th. Okay. Now, when we go through this contact process, the goal is to move our C leads to our B's and our B's to our A's. And as our A's actually transact and fall through the funnel, they get cycled back up as past clients, and they get dropped into our sphere of influence pillar. Okay. So this is the way that we build a business around 4 pillars of income. So we create these pillars of income, they generate leads, we drive them from C's to B's, B's to A's, A's to past clients, and put them right back up top. Okay. So the system that we do for lead follow-up is ABC lead follow-up. We actively have an appointment. We follow up on the 1st and the 15th, and we follow up on the 8th. This follow-up, the biggest problem that agents have in this business, for example, is they don't track their leads properly, and they only work with and or remember their A leads. It's the people that are active. Okay. It's not the person that said, yeah, I might be, looking to buy, but probably not till next summer. Those people always fall off, and we never think about them. Right. So we have to find a way to track these. So we have to have some type of lead tracker. Okay. What happens is most agents, the way they run their business is right up here. And I talk to agents about it all the time. They say, hey, how do you know what you've got going on? Or how do you know how many people you're working with right now? Oh, I've got a really good memory, or I remember those people. Okay, well, sure, you think you remember them because you just don't remember the ones you're forgetting. And so what we talk about is, I like to envision it as a handful of nets. So think about fishermen's nets. Okay. And what happens is if we have 3 nets like this, and our first net is kind of our brain. It's the first thing that we catch. So we use our brain. And what do we catch with our brain? We catch the big fish. Okay. We catch the really big fish. It's the ones that we know are going to close this week. They're going to close 3 weeks from now. They're ready to list in a month. It's the people that are in the top of our mind because those sales are about to happen. And we catch those ones easily. This net's got some big holes in it though. And so all the other small fish, the B's and the C's, which are the majority of our leads, by the way, right? So a good lead flow tracker, we're going to have somewhere between 5 to 8 active leads at any given time. We should have about 20 B leads, and we should have about 60 C leads in order to have a good, healthy business. And so what happens is our brain catches this first set. This is our first net of people, and we catch our A leads here. Okay. We have something with Workman called the lead tracker. Okay. And some people just use a CRM for this, but if you don't have a proper lead tracking system, we can give you a resource called the lead tracker. Lead tracker tracks all of these A, Bs, and C leads. Okay. And this is where we catch all those medium sized and some of the small fish in this second net. Okay. This is what most agents are missing. They're working up here and all those fish are falling through and they're going back into the ocean to go find another agent. Okay. Right here is where we catch the majority of those with the lead tracker. Okay. So what happens is when we think, if I were to ask any agents right now, hey, what are your leads? Who are your clients that you're working with, or who are your potential deals? Okay. Most people off the top of their head could think of maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 people. Okay. So your brain might catch 4 to 6 people. Now, the cool thing about it is all these people that get caught up here, we have a pretty high closing rate on those. I would say like 80 to 100% closing rate. These people close at 80 to 100%. Okay. Why do we think that these people close at 80 to 100%? The reality is because we remember them. We're constantly talking to them because we know they're ready to go. And so we're constantly having conversations with them. So we close these at 80 to 100% clip. So we're going to get somewhere from 3 to 5 closings here. No problem. Okay. Now, the lead tracker is a different story. The lead tracker is catching all of these, okay? And our C leads, when we first meet somebody and they become a C lead, their chances of closing as a C lead are probably 10%, maybe less, maybe 5%, okay? When we can move them to a B lead, it jumps significantly and they go, yeah, hey, we're ready. We're getting our finances in order. We're going to be ready in the next 60 days. Now, their closing percentage is probably like 50%. And then when we get them to an A lead, they become about a 90% close rate. Okay. So the thing is if we got 60 people up here with a 5% close rate, okay, that's 3 transactions. If we've got 20 people here at a 50% closing rate, that's 10 transactions. Okay. And if we have 5 to 6 people here with a 90% close rate, okay, we've got, 4 to 6 transactions in here. So our biggest transactional count is probably right here. But we let our agents, for the most part, let these people fall through the cracks. So that's where we have our lead tracker, because we might have a 20 to 50% closing rate in here. But the reality is we've got way more people in that lead tracker. Okay. So we might have 60 people in that lead tracker. And even if we get a 20% closing rate, we're going to get 12 closings. Okay. This last net down here is kind of the catch-all, and it's to catch all the other stuff that we create from here that we may not necessarily consider a lead, okay? And this is our CRM. And the great piece about the CRM, okay, is that everything that falls to this net gets automated, okay? So this is not work. This is not time out of your daily schedule that it takes. Everything here gets automated. So if we generate again, not a lead, but a name and a number, okay? So open house for all these people, these 5 guests that come in and we got 1 legitimate lead, these 4 other people, I should have contact information from them. Okay, they should have signed in from my open house. So those open house leads that I get, those are getting dropped into my CRM. And even though I may not be actively reaching out to them as an A, B, or a C lead, they are getting my marketing. Okay, so they're getting maybe monthly newsletters. Okay, they're getting maybe event invites if you do some block parties or something that you can invite them to. Open house invites to new open houses that you do. There's all kinds of stuff, but all this stuff gets automated. It goes to your whole database. Okay, and so we might have a 80 to 100% closing rate or a 20 to 50% closing rate. And let's say we have a 1% closing rate of everybody that shows up in our database. Well, the reality is if we're doing 60 open houses a year, I just told you, you're going to meet 5 people. You're going to meet, and 4 of them are not active leads. So that's another 240 people that you're going to add to your database that were not leads. So just in open houses alone, you're putting 240 people in here. And the same thing might happen with expireds. people that you call or that you talk to that go, yeah, I'm not interested. Maybe at some point I would sell my house, but not right now. Okay, no problem. Okay, get them into the database. And if we can close 1% of those and we got 1,000 people in our database, there's another 10 transactions. So here's the difference between what an average agent is doing, which is working this single net up here, and they're doing 3 to 5 closings a year, which is the national average for the amount of closings that realtors do in the United States, 3 to 5 transactions. Okay, so right here is where most people are operating, and they don't do this. Look how many transactions they're losing by not catching all those other people that they're talking to. Okay, they're losing 12 closings from potential leads, and they're losing maybe another 10 transactions from having a lack of a database. Right? So this is the way that a whole business gets built out. And we already taught you kind of how to build a pillar. So now what you got to do is you got to think about what are the 4 pillars that you're going to work, and how are you going to build them out in order to do that? And how are you going to generate the leads? Right? So the last piece of this, kind of do it in this corner here. So you've got first of all, let me recap. You got a couple of systems here. You create your 4 pillars. Okay, so let's do that. So step 1, create 4 pillars. Okay, step 2 is to build out each pillar. And when I say build out each pillar, it means you need to figure out what the actual process is for that pillar, what the time commitment is, when you're going to do it, and how you're going to do it. Okay, so it might look like this for the open house again, right? I'm going to run 2 open houses per weekend. Okay, those open houses are always going to be, so on the weekends, they're always going to be 10 to 12 on Saturday and 2 to 4 on Sunday. So now I know my time commitment for the open houses. Okay, I'm going to do my prep work the Tuesday before. So Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 12, I'm going to make flyers and I'm going to prep. Okay, and then on Thursdays, from 12 to 4, I'm going to flyer and I'm going to door knock. So now I have a schedule built around this. Okay, I'm going to do 2 hours on Saturday plus clean up and set up. So 2 hours there. So we got 4 hours. Clean up and set up is another 3 hours. So there's 7 hours on the weekends, 2 hours for flyers on Tuesdays, and 4 hours for flyers. So we got a 13-hour work week there. Okay, to do 2 open houses per week. Okay, which is 104 per year, which should be a 20 plus transaction business. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And now I take these things and I put them in my schedule, okay, or what we call our perfect week in Workman. Okay, so 10 to 12 on Saturday, 2 to 4 on Sunday. There's no exceptions. These are not things that I move. So if I've got a client that goes, hey, I really like to see homes this Saturday, I go, yeah, not a problem. Anytime after 12:30 would be perfect for me. Okay, and I think, well, I can only go in the morning. Okay, well, I can go from 8 a.m. to 9, but I have standing appointments from 10 to 12 on Saturday. And if you set that expectation right up front with the client, as far as what they can expect from you as to when you work and when you're available and when you don't work, they won't have a problem with that. Okay, you can also be semi-flexible too. Okay, if you move your open house on Saturday, just make sure you still do it. Okay, I'm going to do 2 on Sunday instead, or I'm going to do a Saturday afternoon. But you got to do on Saturday. And these are non-negotiable activities. Everything that happens up here has to be a non-negotiable activity. So when we create our perfect weeks, we got to put our big rocks in first. That's things like our health, our family time, our fitness, that type of stuff. After that goes in our money-making activities, our prospecting activities, the way that we lead generate. Okay, and then everything else goes on top of that. But those things have to happen first, because showing homes is just a result of getting the lead or getting a client. Okay, but without clients, we can't we can't do business. Now, if you have a problem where you're so busy, you have so many clients that need to see so many homes because you're doing so many prospecting activities, that's a great problem to have. Then you just hire yourself a buyer's agent or a showing agent, an assistant, somebody to go out and do those activities for you. They're not really money-making activities, okay? So build out your pillars. You get your 4 pillars. You build each of those pillars out. You set up what times you're going to do them. So we already have this in our schedule. So now if we do our top 50 or our sphere of influence, we know that maybe Mondays are the days that I'm going to call my sphere of influence. And you could see once you build out this schedule, you'll find that you could be done by noon every day with all of your prospecting activities if you wanted to. There's no reason that you need to go past that. You could come into the office, work from 8 o'clock to noon, put your head down and actually get your stuff done. And all this would be done. You'd create a bunch of leads, you'd do a bunch of transactions, and then you could hire somebody to do all your other stuff that you don't want to do in the business, all the paperwork, all the marketing stuff that we tend to not be very good at. Okay, pay somebody to set up the automation, to put our CRM together, that type of stuff. Okay, so choose your 4 pillars, build out each of those pillars, track your leads, use a systematic approach to following up with those leads. Okay, the A, B, C lead follow-up, okay? And once we create deals with those, they get dropped back into the top 50 or the sphere of influence as part of one of those other pillars that we continue to follow up with those people, okay, and generate more leads out of them. This is, start to finish, the basics of how to build a real estate business, okay? All the other stuff that you're thinking about, the what does my business card look like or what should my flyers look like, it's all minutia. This is where the money comes from, and this is how you build a thriving and successful real estate business. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Happy to help. And if you're one of my coaching clients, we'll build out each of these with a little bit more in-depth coverage. I will say one last piece is this takes time. This isn't something that happens overnight. It can take years to perfect 4 pillars, okay? But just get really good at 1 or 2 first before you move on. So thanks for your time today, and hope this helps.